Kyle wakes up. He is famous. Kyle is host of the most popular talk show in recent memory. Stay Up Late with Kyle. Stay Up Late with Kyle has grown in popularity quickly in the last year, and the public has noticed. Inside has called Kyle a most excellent dumpy white man. Top Tech noted that Kyle is inspiring youth to explore STEM fields. Most other talk shows are dedicated to discussing Kyle and his personal details. Most online videos are best of clips taken from Kyle's latest broadcast. The eye of the world is upon Kyle. Tonight is Kyle's most important guest interview yet. Stay Up Late with Kyle will be featuring Rachel May. She is a kind and lovely philanthropist. She is dear to the hearts of many. This interview requires preparation. Kyle cracked his eyes open, knowing today is his last chance to prepare for the interview. Kyle has 30 hours left. He must choose his actions wisely. Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely. Exit the bed or wither away. Kyle decided to stay put and wither away. Kyle withered successfully and died.
Deathbed.
Kyle is now a ghost. This does not relieve him of his responsibilities. Get out of bed anyway. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his room. Open the closet, sit at desk, scavenge, or exit bedroom to hallway.
Open the closet.
Kyle opened the closet. It was dark, and he could only really see his hanging shirts. Choose an outfit. Oh, I know which one I'm doing. Kyle decided to take time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is. Suit of armor. Are you picking
skunk pasties? Oh, suit of armor. Good choice.
Kyle was unsure of what exactly caused him to decide to wear his armor, but it felt like the right thing to do. After much squeezing and sweating, Kyle managed to wrap the metal suit around his dumpy self. Back to room. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
Sit at desk.
Sit at desk.
Write notes for interview. These
Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down. Kyle wrote down his first question. Is your mother, or let's read through all of them. Are you a mother? Am I a mother? Is your mother a mother? Am I a mother? Kyle wrote down his second question. What are some diet tips? Beef, mashed, or blended? Ever eaten a raw egg whole?
Raw egg.
Kyle wrote down his third question. What's your funniest story? I purposely ran over a puppy. Do you ever smile? I kind of like the puppy one just because it's not a question.
Yeah, I pick that one a lot.
Kyle wrote down his last question. What's your guilty pleasure? Do you feel guilty? Are you guilty?
Are you guilty is really great.
Kyle ripped his page of notes out of the notebook and got up from the desk.
You do need to go eat, otherwise you will pass out.
Alright, exit bedroom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kyle walked into the small hallway that connects the rooms of his apartment together. Check locked door? No, I'm gonna just move to the kitchen, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen.
The pantry's locked.
I'll open the fridge. Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat. Eat crust on fridge wall. Eat the fridge. Prepare breakfast. Eat condiments. Eat the fridge. Kyle pointed his neck directly upwards and hoisted the fridge on top of his face. Somehow, miraculously, he wrapped his mouth around the device. He started to swallow. In one slow, horrible movement, the fridge slid down Kyle's throat. After many gurgles, pops, and snaps, Kyle felt relatively sure the fridge would not come back out. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen. Kyle walked into the small hallway that connects the rooms of his apartment together. Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him. Visit downstairs neighbor, or visit tech store? I have 4 hours. I'll visit the tech store. Kyle walked into the clean, white tech store. He was greeted by Techno Jim, an elaborate, cutout mascot with flashing lights. Ask attendant for free samples. Steal Techno Jim. Quickly, before the attendant could acknowledge him, Kyle grabbed Techno Jim by the shoulders. Finding that Techno Jim's cardboard feet were bolted to the ground, Kyle started to pull upwards forcefully. After several tugs, Techno Jim broke free, leaving 1 foot and 1 leg behind. Ellipses. Kyle hurried to the set. Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost before he arrived. Makes sense. Sitting across from his host's chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. Genuine ID. Genuinitis. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here.
Yeah.
Kyle roughly shoved Rachel out of her seat and placed Techno Jim in her stead. Hello, Techno Jim, said Kyle. I'm going to interview you today. Kyle grasped Techno Jim's hand and tried to shake it, but instead tore it off the cardboard frame. Kyle's producer, sensing viral media, pulled the bewildered Rachel out of frame and motioned to the crew to go live. Cameramen moved, lights flashed, and suddenly the studio was on air. Hi, I'm Kyle, said Kyle, and tonight I'm going to interview a very special guest. He pointed at Techno Jim using the dismembered arm. Techno Jim started to smoke from the heat of the lights. What does that do to Kyle then?
Kyle is protected by his dumpiness.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Asked Kyle. Knowing Jim would probably not speak, Kyle took it upon himself to be his voice as well. Hi, Kyle, he said, raising the pitch of his voice. My name is Rachel May, and I'm a very special guest. Rachel's expression of confusion turned to shock. Well, Rachel, you look way too thin and absolutely terrible, and you should feel ugly. Kyle gave Jim a meaningful stare. Wow, Kyle, he said. I sure wish I could look like you. Techno Jim burst into flames. Instantaneously, the sprinkler system initiated. Curtains of water poured down from the rafters. Within seconds, the production equipment was doused in water. The set was soon abuzz with electrical fires. Kyle's crew abandoned their post as cameramen and sound mixers to try to put the fires out.
Did you forget how to read?
No, it's just because of the way that it went through. I thought that it was missing that they were trying to.
Okay.
Because it just went cameramen to try to, and I forgot that it was from before that they were abandoning their posts. As the crew scrambled around, the cameras continued to run. Kyle sat, motionless, staring forward. Eventually, the fires were all put out. Kyle's producers shut off the broadcast, leaving Kyle's vacant stare as the final frame. Kyle's ratings skyrocketed. Techno Jim became a staple on the show, often ending up destroyed by the end of each episode. Although Rachel did not come back on the show, her cardboard portrayal did. Rachel was very popular.
Rachel.
I have unlocked 1 of 21 endings. Reset. Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
Exit the bed.
Kyle exited his
scavenge?
bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom. Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for bugs. Kyle started to pick between the fuzz of his bedroom carpet, hoping to catch a stray beetle or two. Soon, he had a small handful of various insects, dead and alive.
Save for later use.
Crunch. Kyle
Yeah, it's
stashed the wriggling
bad.
mass for later use.
Open the closet. Choose an outfit.
Choose an outfit. Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
Skunk pasties.
Kyle chose the pasties made out of mashed skunk flesh. Getting the slimy garments to stay proved difficult, so Kyle opted to stick them to his body with hot glue. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom.
Exit bedroom. Move to kitchen.
Kyle walked into the small hallway that connects the rooms of his apartment together. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen.
Snack time.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat. Eat crust on fridge wall. Prepare breakfast. Eat condiments. Condiments. Kyle started to grab condiments from the fridge, squirting them into his mouth with both hands. I almost said mounds.
Oh no!
Kyle started to grab condiments from the fridge, squirting them into his glorious mounds with both hands.
The skunk pasties really accentuate it.
Crunchy. The rate at which ketchup, soy sauce, and other items entered Kyle's mouth soon overrode his ability to swallow. Spitters are quitters. He is a quitter. Kyle spewed the excess condiments across the kitchen, covering the furniture and walls. Kyle continued until all of the condiments had been emptied. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen. I'm going to check the pantry. Kyle wanted to access the pantry, but it was locked with a small keyhole.
The key is in the desk drawer.
Back to kitchen. Return to hallway. Return to bedroom. Sit at desk. Check in desk drawer. Small key. Back to desk. Back to room. I don't have time. Kyle hurried to the set, sitting
He looks
across from his
beautiful.
host chair. What?
He looks so beautiful.
Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuine itis. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Approach, Rachel. Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Kyle responded. Scream and spin in circles. Answer politely. Kyle started to stretch out his arms wide, tilted his neck upwards, and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show.
Showtime!
A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good evening, everyone, said Kyle, looking at the camera. Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle. Introduce Rachel. Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. Hello, Kyle, she said. I'm glad to be here. Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss, so we might as well dive right in, said Kyle. I'm very ready, said Rachel with a winning smile. In a shock, Kyle realized he had never bothered to prepare any notes for the interview. Knowing he had the eyes of millions upon him, Kyle came up with a solution quickly. Blame Rachel for lack of notes, run away, play dead, Produce ball of bugs. Well, Rachel, said Kyle, I wanted to show this to you. Kyle produced the ball of bugs he had accumulated from his bedroom floor. Rachel took several beats to figure out what Kyle was holding in his hands. A look of horror crossed her face. Kyle, what on earth is that? She asked. Is it alive? Maybe, said Kyle. Here, watch this. Kyle, staring at Rachel, opened his mouth wide and slowly inserted the gooey ball of bugs. As Rachel watched, obviously unsettled, Kyle began to chew, and very slowly and intently.
Chew and very slowly and intently.
Yes.
Good job.
Attempting to swallow, Kyle coughed several times, covering Rachel in partially chewed bugs. Rachel sat stock still, processing what had happened. Kyle finished swallowing and opened his mouth to show that there were no bugs left. Well, that was satisfying, he said, smiling widely at the camera. Rachel got out of her seat and left the studio.
Kyle prepared by eating bugs.
1 second.
A woongoa, a woongoa, a woongoa, a woongoa, wingo wingo doo 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 doo. Bagoom badup bagoom.
No.
Oh.
Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely. Exit the bed. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his room. Sit at desk. Check in desk drawer. Small key. Back to desk. Write notes. Am I a mother? Beef.
Raw. I purposely
Puppy.
ran over a puppy. Are you guilty?
Are you guilty? Back to desk. Back to room. Open the closet.
Shoes off there.
The pantry door lock creaked as if it hadn't moved for years, but eventually opened. Instead of an assortment of canned goods and grains, Kyle's pantry stored his massive amount of bottled lard.
Grab the lard. I have never done this one before.
Ignore the pantry for now. Chug a bottle of lard. Grab a bottle of lard. Grab a bottle of lard. Kyle grabbed a bottle of lard and stashed it on his person for later use. Back to
I thought
kitchen.
that said stashed it for personal use.
Open fridge. Prepare breakfast. Kyle constructed a breakfast of poached eggs and toast along with a small fruit cup and grilled sausage. Eat. Smash.
Don't smash it. You will
Eat.
not be able to eat more. I felt refreshed.
That is a very crunchy sound for eating everything that is soft. Except toast, but it does not make the sound of that.
Of crunchy bug.
Kyle ate his breakfast slowly and thoughtfully, enjoying every bite. He felt refreshed. Return to kitchen. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen. Return to hallway. Check locked door. Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside. Forced
Do
the
that
door
the
with
next
forehead.
round. Okay, never mind.
Kyle decided it would be best to try to force the door open with the use of his face. No. Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across the good evening, Kyle responded, forget her name from amnesia. Why?
Because you slammed your face into the door.
Ah, yes. Good. Hello, you. Kyle's ears began to ring from his concussion. Rachel looked at Kyle, slightly confused, but continued smiling. Before she noticed a glazed look in Kyle's eyes, the producer approached. Time to get started, he said, putting a hand on Kyle's shoulder. Let's get stationed. Kyle sat in the nearest chair. Rachel, her seat stolen, sat in the host chair. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good morning, everyone, said Kyle. My name is...
How long are you gonna go for? Your Discord audio disconnected. Okay, that's how long. This is unsettling.
It's because my audio disconnected because it normalizes for like background sounds.
Okay.
So it detected that as a constant sound that gets rid of it.
Nice.
Kyle made a desperate effort to remember his name, or really, anything. Kyle looked at Rachel.
Do you know who I am?
He asked. Rachel looked back, confused.
What are you? Well, if you're not Kyle, I don't know who you are.
Rachel smiled, sweetly. Kyle made up his mind, but he was probably Kyle.
Well,
he said.
I'm Kyle.
A long silence followed. Eventually, Rachel spoke again.
And I'm Rachel. Hi, everyone.
She waved.
Hi, Rachel,
said Kyle.
So why are you here?
Rachel was visibly worried.
Haha, funny,
she said.
Were you planning on asking me any questions? I mean, I don't have any ideas,
said Kyle. Kyle kept staring at Rachel. Someone coughed. Kyle looked around and noticed the crew.
Who on earth are all of you?
he asked. Nobody answered. Kyle got out of his chair and walked off frame, leaving Rachel alone with millions of viewers. Rachel started to attempt to entertain the audience herself. Eventually, the producer ended the broadcast early due to technical issues. Kyle woke up in his bed the next day, remembering nothing about what had happened.
Kyle forgot everything.
Same. 1 second. I need to wake Kate up.
Awaken. A wingoa, a wingoa, a wingoa, a wingoa. Do 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 do. Do 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 boo boo. A woonga bumpa goomba dumpa linga la ba la la la. I'm really glad that in our DM, the first message is me saying hello.
She did not awaken.
Oh no.
So I'm just gonna, like, keep doing that.
Cool.
Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely.
I want to try out the lard.
Like, chug it
No, bring it on set.
and remember it.
Yeah. Jeans and swimming goggles is a great look.
That's what I did last time. Kyle miraculously crammed his dumpy body into the suit. The chest pockets were filled with random knickknacks. Sit at desk. Kyle started scraping the streaks of crud and spots of black mold off of the walls of his fridge. After balling up the filth from the sides of the fridge, Kyle bit into the crusty, moist ball. Several minutes of chewing later, Kyle finished chewing and swallowed the ball whole. But
And then that icon at the top, that is not a good meal.
I disagree. Kyle walked to the center of the kitchen, returned to hallway. Leave. Yes. Visit downstairs neighbor. Kyle approached his downstairs neighbor's door and knocked. A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door. She looked at Kyle expectantly. Greet and start a conversation. Good morning, neighbor, said Kyle cheerfully. Gabby looked at Kyle expectantly. Ask Gabby about Gabby. Ask Gabby about Rachel. Gabby, asked Kyle, tell me about yourself. Gabby stiffened. Oh, you know, she said, putting on a fake smile. I just sit around here. Yes, I don't get around much. Never go out at night. I just stay here. Right. Here. Gabby glared at Kyle. Ellipses. Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Kyle responded.
Answer politely.
And I as well, Rachel, answered Kyle, extending his hand in greeting. You are a most welcome guest. Shake hands. After another mild exchange of pleasantries, Kyle and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Start broadcast. Good evening, everyone, said Kyle, looking at the camera. Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle, introduced Rachel. Kyle vomited all of the horrible things he'd eaten earlier onto the floor. More. Rachel looked at Kyle, concerned, gave a couple coughs, and decided to play it cool and keep the show running. More. Kyle stopped, then vomited again, then continued with a shaky voice. More. Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. More. Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and moved to the camera. Hello, Kyle, she said. I'm glad to be here, as she moves her feet away from the pile of vomit at her feet that is on the floor and is disgusting. More.
It's just growing.
Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss, so we might as well dive right in, said Kyle. Drink lard. Dive right into this bottle, that is. Kyle pulled out his bottle of lard, bit the top off, and chugged it. Kyle's body rejected the lard. He began to spew chunks of lard and digestive fluid in every direction. Everything within a 10-foot radius was immediately covered, including Rachel.
Wow, it's sparkling ice. Kyle continued
to vomit. Rachel bravely fought to stay seated amidst the vomit, hoping to save the show from disaster. Unfortunately, Kyle's vomit had covered all of the cameras. There was no more broadcast. Kyle finished spewing eventually. The broadcast was not recoverable. All present were sent home to try again another day. As Kyle got home, he made a mental note to refill his lard supply.
Kyle consumed. Okay, so for this one, exit the bed. Scavenge. That's not showing up. Anyway, gossip.
Kyle firmly pressed his ear into the carpet, hoping to hear some stray words from the neighbors below. I heard Rachel May is going on a trip out of the country soon. Oh, girlfriend, tell me more. Well, what I will tell you is that every night I don a mask that looks like a bug and fight misdoers. That sounds like Gabby. There was a stunned silence. Then a door opened and someone exited the neighbor's apartment. That's quite enough. Exit bedroom to hallway.
Return to bedroom. Write notes.
Write notes for interview. Are you a mother? Ever eaten a raw egg whole? Do you ever smile?
Are you guilty?
Are you guilty?
Back to desk. Back to room. Get dressed. Yes. Go get food.
didn't mean to click that. Kyle smashed his breakfast to a pulp using both fists.
Check. Okay. Good job.
Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. "Good evening, Kyle," she said, looking him in the eyes. "I've been looking forward to being here." Scream. Kyle started to stretch out his arms wide, tilted his neck upwards, and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show. Gossip about neighbor.
Yes.
"Good evening, everyone," said Kyle. "My neighbor is a bug vigilante." More. With nothing more to say on the matter, he fell silent. Rachel, also on camera, stared at her hands and wondered when she was going to be introduced. The producer started cutting to different camera angles to break the tension. Kyle continued to remain silent and stare forward blankly. After several minutes, neighbor Gabby walked out onto set. "Hi everyone," she said, smiling hollowly. "My name is Gabby, and I'm not a bug vigilante." False. Kyle looked at Gabby and then returned to staring forwards. Gabby began to reply, but was interrupted by a bug-shaped intercom on her belt. "Bug girl," it squawked. "A robbery is in progress on East 3rd. Report immediate." Gabby threw the intercom on the floor, on the ground, intercom on the floor, on the ground, and crushed it under her foot.
You really did well with that sentence.
After a beat, she spoke again. "Something has come up suddenly, and I must go." Gabby left the set. "Well," said Kyle, "that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for joining us, Rachel." Kyle got up, shook Rachel's hand again, and walked past the cameras, leaving her alone. Not knowing what else to do, the producer ended the broadcast. In the coming days, fans of both Rachel and Kyle dubbed this show as a masterpiece of television. Stay Up Late with Kyle's online pages were updated to reflect this broadcast as the most popular ever. Kyle's producer later tried to have Rachel on the show again, but she was very, very, very busy. Kyle talked about Gabby. I want to talk to her.
Talk to Gabby or Rachel?
Gabby.
Mm-hmm. What I'm thinking right now, write your notes for the interview ending with "Are you guilty?" Go downstairs and see if you can eat the neighbor.
Okay.
You're all so completely naked.
Oh yeah. Ask Gabby about being a vigilante.
Yes.
Gabby asked Kyle, "Are you the bug vigilante?" More. For a moment, Gabby looked stunned, but then she realized his seriousness. Gabby nodded once. The door shut in Kyle's face. Back to street.
You might want to go get dressed.
Do I?
You also need to eat.
Which is more important because I only have time for one.
Yeah.
That is not an answer.
Kitchen. Prepare breakfast.
Just in time. Genuinity smiled. Had not Rachel's smile quickly turned to shock as she realized Kyle had not put on clothes that day. Kyle waved
Dumpy naked
and
man.
smiled broadly. Rachel uncomfortably averted her eyes. Kyle started making his rounds around the room, greeting each crew member. None of them looked at him directly. As it became apparent that Kyle had no intention of leaving, Rachel made some excuses and exited the set. One by one, the crew followed suit. Kyle was left all alone. Kyle prepared by being a nudist. Alright, let's do one where we do the notes and end with "Are you guilty?"
Yeah. Emma, beef. Are you? So what we originally set out to do? Get dressed. Exit bedroom, kitchen, open the fridge, prepare breakfast. We did not smash this time, so that's nice. Smashed it. I'm dying. Visit the downstairs neighbor. Oh wait, no. Yes. Great.
Gabby, Kyle asked, "What are your true thoughts about Rachel May?" "Oh, Rachel?" Gabby said. "She's a wonderful woman. Her generous acts have inspired more good work than bad." Gabby trailed off, not meeting Kyle's eyes. After several uncomfortable minutes of silence, Kyle turned around and left. That entire conversation took like 2 hours. Kyle walked out into the middle of the street, of the road, and took a long, pondering look around him. Returned to apartment. More. Genuinity smiled. "Good evening." Kyle responded. Politely. Guest. Shake. More. Start. Introduce. More. "Glad to be here. Kyle." I'm very ready, said Rachel with a winning smile. Kyle produced the notes he had taken earlier.
"Is your mother a mother?"
So, said Kyle. "My mother is my mother, my mother's mother is her mother, and my mother's mother. And many mothers have mother's mother's mother. Is your mother a mother?" Rachel went to answer, and stopped. "I believe," she said eventually, "that I should answer. Yes?" Kyle asked another question.
Beef.
Beef. "A burning question from the fans," said Kyle. "Beef. Do you prefer it mashed or blended?" Rachel answered quickly and honestly. Mashed. And no more was said on that matter. Kyle asked another question. I ran over a puppy. On purpose, said Kyle. Everyone in the studio froze. Kyle spread his hands out wide.
"It's a joke."
He started laughing from the bottom of his stomach. Nobody laughed with Kyle. Several minutes later, he stopped laughing and moved on. Kyle asked another question. Rachel,
Are you guilty?
Kyle threw his questions on the floor, stood up, and pointed at her. Rachel's eyes twitched slightly. "Guilty of what, dear Kyle?" She smiled disingenuously. "Guilty," spat Kyle.
"Of your crimes."
Rachel did not answer. Her eyelids both started twitching uncontrollably. After reading his final question, Kyle looked up from his paper, which he threw on the floor, but I guess he was still looking at. "Well, Rachel," he said, "I think that's all I was planning on asking you." "If that's the case, Kyle, may I ask you something in return?" asked Rachel, smiling one more time. "Do you prepare for your interviews in advance? Because you seem very together." Before Kyle could answer, the cameras shut down. The broadcast was over. Kyle returned home, knowing the interview had gone well. But as he lay in bed and drifted to sleep, he felt that, perhaps, something was still missing.
We're a third of the way there.
I think I will do one more.
Exit the bed and then scavenge? I'm hoping. Yes, resources.
Kyle began to comb through the damp piles of filth and mold on his floor in search of helpful items. After finding and eating a few bits of crumbs and old cheese, Kyle found something much more important. Indeed, it was the corpse of Harry, a friend that had gone missing years ago while at Kyle's house. Kyle was glad to see him again, but was unsure of whether to interrupt such an important day with Harry business.
Deal with Harry.
Deal with him. Kyle hoisted Harry onto his shoulder and took him outside. Kyle began dragging Harry's body down the street, drawing many, many stairs. Kyle knew exactly where he needed to take Harry's corpse, on a lovely playdate, just the two of them. Kyle and Harry started at the arcade. Kyle used Harry's arms to operate the joysticks and push buttons. After 5 or 6 different games, the two friends had enough tickets for a single candy bar. They took their prize to the local park for eating. Kyle tried to feed some of the chocolate bar to Harry, but Harry seemed to not have an appetite. After eating, Kyle noticed a nearby playground. He dragged Harry over. Kyle tried to figure out a way to swing Harry on the swing set, but lacking the ability to grip, Harry kept falling out. Instead, Kyle started to lug Harry to the top of the slide and shove him down, time and time again. Finally, Kyle took Harry to the movies to see as many popular films as their pocket change allowed. Kyle quickly found that he had no pocket change, so he searched through Harry's corpse until he found his wallet. Kyle bought 2 tickets to A Love Romance. After getting inside, Kyle left Harry to go find a restroom. By the time Kyle had finished using the restroom, he had forgotten that he brought Harry along. Kyle watched A Love Romance by himself. Harry's corpse sat on a bench in the atrium. While Kyle was in the movie, a beautiful thing happened. Harry's corpse, imbued with the power of friendship and love, was reanimated. Harry's old, rotten flesh gained color and life. His fingernails regrew. His missing eye came back. By the time the movie was over, Harry was able to greet Kyle with a large, friendly hug as his old self. Kyle was confused, but delighted that his long-lost friend met him on his way out of the theater. The two made plans to get drinks together and parted ways for the day. Kyle returned home, forgetting about the interview with Rachel.
Helped a friend. What a beautiful story. Okay, I was wondering what the fuck you were doing. By John Zemansky.
Well, that was Kyle is Famous. A fun game that I will be continuing, eventually.
Bobby, I have some questions for you.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever eaten a raw egg whole?
No.
Are you guilty?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you
Yes.
absolutely
Yes.
sure?
Yes.
Anyway, beef mashed or blended?
Blended, of course. I would like to repeat, I am not guilty. Blended is the only way to have beef. All those people that have their beef mashed are subhuman. And they deserve to rot in the bottom of a sewer filled with blended beef.
Do you have any questions for me?
No,